Police fatally shoot black woman who called 911 for domestic violence. Los Angeles Sheriff's deputy who killed Niani Finlayson, 27, previously had killed another civilian under similar circumstances. What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, recording live from Budapest, Hungary. We're going to jump into this story here of Niani Finlayson. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. May she rest in peace. And may we get justice for this horrific murder that has happened to this young woman. This was published in The Guardian on December 22nd, 2023, article written by Sam Levin, and I will be giving my commentary as we go. A Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy shot and killed a 27-year-old woman who had called 911 to report that she was under attack by a former boyfriend, police officials and lawyers for the victim's family said on Thursday. Records show the deputy had killed another person in similar circumstances 3 years ago. On December 4th, Niani Finlayson called police and reported that her boyfriend would not leave her alone, and then screaming and sounds of a struggle could be heard, the LA Sheriff's Department, LASD, said in a statement. When deputies arrived at the apartment in Lancaster, a city in the northern region of LA County, they could hear screaming, LASD said. Absolutely horrific what this woman went through. As somebody who has witnessed domestic violence and also self-admittedly participated in domestic violence, I can say that women do not deserve to be abused under any circumstances. Women do not deserve at all to have hands put on them and that sort of thing. We should protect our sisters, protect our women and that sort of stuff. And the police, at the very least, when they show up to a dispute where domestic violence has been alleged, they should be ready and cautious about their finger being on the trigger, because you're going into a very contentious situation. Finlayson was inside when her 9-year-old daughter had been injured by her ex-boyfriend and wanted him removed, her family's attorney said. The exact circumstances that led to the fatal shooting are unclear, and LASD has so far declined to release body camera footage. LASD alleged in a statement that Finlayson had a knife and was threatening her boyfriend, at which point Deputy Ty Shelton opened fire. The family disputed the police account, saying Finlayson was clearly a victim of domestic violence who needed help and posted no threat to the officers, the coroner said. She died from multiple gunshot wounds. Now, the video might come out. We might see it in a few days on Chaotic, if not tonight. It will spread around the internet and people will come to their own decision about what happened. But I have to say this. In America, too many police are trigger happy because we live in a society that lets guns permeate throughout. So all the police are in fear for their life. Even if you're going to say she had a knife, number one thing that's in a police officer's mind is making it home tonight, because they are working class people too. And there are plenty of videos and plenty of encounters and plenty of instances that have led to police officers dying at the hands of gun violence. So if I were a police officer, I can actually understand, and I'm sympathetic to the idea of being more trigger happy or ready to kill because it's better them than you, or better them than me if I were in their shoes. But how about this? Instead of living in a society where so many guns permeate, where citizens and cops are shooting and killing each other, how about we actually get rid of the guns? I know it's a radical idea for most Americans, but in Germany, we don't have these problems. In Hungary, where I'm at right now, they don't have these problems. In Italy, in Turkey, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Canada, we don't hear stories about police slaughtering citizens or citizens slaughtering police. Why? Because they actually have gun control. Somebody's going to attack me just because in this one instance, the woman might have had a knife. Even if the video shows that, I don't take back anything I said right here. We need to create a society where police feel safe doing their working class job and citizens feel safe calling the police. Until then, we will continue to have more Americans die from gun violence. Finlayson was a mother of two, and her daughter, Zaisha, witnessed the shooting. The police lied that my mom was threatening them, Zaisha said at a press conference on Thursday alongside her grandparents, calling for Shelton to be prosecuted. She was my best friend. She was always there for me. It's unbelievable that she's gone and she's not coming back. I miss my mom, the girl said. Her 2-year-old sister continues to ask where their mother is, and she doesn't know how to respond. Absolutely tragic. Absolutely horrific that this year is closing off with this woman losing her life, this daughter losing her mother, with so many people losing so much from this situation. Yet and still, Americans continue to worship the gun. We continue to have a police culture in America where they view killing citizens as just a part of the job. When will this change? Finlayson's family filed a legal claim against the county and sheriff's department on Thursday, alleging wrongful death, assault, and civil rights violations. You have someone who is calling the police for help and she gets killed by the police who she's asking for assistance, said Bradley Gage, the family's attorney. If you call for help, you think the officers are going to protect and serve. You don't expect them to hunt and kill you. LASD said in a statement Thursday it had not officially received the family's claim, but would be releasing body camera footage by next week. The Inspector General's office would conduct a robust review process where every aspect of the shooting is thoroughly examined and evaluated to see if department policies and procedures were followed. And the LA District Attorney's Office would determine whether the shooting was legally justified, the statement said, adding, the department is deeply committed to protecting our diverse communities without bias and without prejudice. I have to say this. If the officer truly did kill other citizens in similar circumstances, maybe it's the officer that needs to be removed, reprimanded, retrained, fired, I don't know, something like that. Because if you are out here killing people in similar circumstances, that's a pattern of behavior that needs to be examined, if not reprimanded, punished, etc. Anyway, I'll continue here. Shelton could not be reached, and the sheriff's deputy union did not immediately respond to any inquiry, or to an inquiry, pardon. Previously, Shelton killed Michael Thomas, 61 years old. The police officer killed a 61-year-old man on June 11th, 2020, in a similar case. Shelton had been responding to a potential domestic violence call, and when the deputies arrived, they demanded he open the door, officials said. Thomas's girlfriend later said she had been having a verbal argument with Thomas, who had been unarmed, and that he had tried to stop the officers from entering, citing the Fourth Amendment. Thomas had also been afraid police would shoot him, his family said. And officials later confirmed Thomas had said, I am now in fear for my life. You guys, you just killed somebody. This is a message to all the fellas out here. And trust me, I've been there because, like I said at the beginning of the video, I am self-admittedly somebody who unfortunately perpetrated domestic violence. I got into a fight with my girlfriend. She hit me first. I hit her. And here we are wrestling and tussling. Police get called. This happened in Serbia. Before then, I had issues with my ex, caught a charge in Florida for that as well, domestic stalking, all that sort of stuff. Was on probation for that for a few years and that sort of stuff. There was no violence in that case, but here I was harassing a woman, and I've learned from that and I've grown from that, and I can self-admittedly say that I was wrong in that. And guys, fellas out here, please, if your girl wants to leave, let her leave. If she's all up in your face, you leave. Please, fellas, don't be like me, go through all the pain and hardship and have to live with this burden, have to live with this regret, have to live with this shame of being a perpetrator of domestic violence or somebody who harasses or hurts women. This is something that I'm deeply ashamed about, and I'm only admitting it here on this channel, hopefully as a lesson. Now I'm a reformed gentleman. I'm a married man. I've turned my life around, and I've tried to be a better man to the women who are in my life. And I still struggle with what I did in the past, but I'm glad that I at least have my life and my freedom, and too many men get locked up or die behind women, and this needs to stop. This is a message to all the men out here. You guys are out here listening to Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, and all these other guys, but do they tell you about domestic violence? No, some of these guys are perpetrators of domestic violence, like Andrew Tate, like Fresh and Fit on their podcast. They got into fights with women and had women threaten to pull out guns on them and stuff like that. Your dealings with women should never get to a point where she is pointing guns at you or threatening to kill you, or you are trying to fight a woman or something like that. If you are dealing with that and you didn't cause it or instigate it, you should not be with that woman, period. This is advice for all the guys out there. And you don't have to listen to me, but I'm just somebody who's made it out on the other end. I went through a wild 20s, early 30s, wild as well, and here I am on the other side, still living, breathing, free, and happy. Do you want to be like that, or do you want to be like this guy, Michael Thomas, who lost his life to the cop because he got into a fight with his girl? If your girl's crazy, leave her. If you're crazy, don't be with anybody until you are not crazy. This is advice for all the men. Don't go through the stupid stuff I went through and do all the harm that you did to other people. I'm making that absolutely clear. All right. Shelton fatally shot Thomas in the chest. The killing was not captured on camera. The case was one in a series of LASD killings that summer that caused widespread protests, and prosecutors declined to file charges against Shelton. LASD did not respond to questions about Shelton's previous killing. Finlayson's mother, Tracy Hall, said her daughter had been working to become a nurse and an in-home care service worker, designed her own clothes, and wanted to make a phone app for children. I'm going to miss my daughter braiding my hair, the simple things. It's so unfair, she said, adding, I hope Ty Shelton looks himself in the mirror and says, I have destroyed another life for no reason. He put my granddaughter in so much danger. So I hope this guy, Ty Shelton, is taken off the force. I hope he actually gets reprimanded or something, or they do a thorough investigation and find out that this guy, either was justified for what he did or was totally unjustified. Me, I'm leaning more towards he was unjustified because he has a pattern of doing this, and we don't need killer cops on the street. Going to continue here. He should not be allowed to roam free and continue to have a job and provide for his family because my daughter is not here to provide for her family, she said. Finlayson's father, Lamont Finlayson, said she had recently moved into the apartment and was excited to celebrate her first holidays there. It just breaks me to my bone. I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't walk. They didn't tase her, mace her, baton her, or beanbag her. They just shot her like a dog in her own place and taken so much away from us. Absolutely true. Like, before you go to lethal force, you should use unlethal means. Tasing people, batoning, hit them over the head with a stick, that sort of stuff. Don't just shoot people. But they can do that to us. They feel like they can do that to us because black life has no meaning or purpose to them. Anyway, continuing here, Maisha Lopez, Thomas's daughter, said on Thursday that she was furious but not surprised to learn that Shelton had fatally shot another person. He's been given a license to kill, and again, he violated somebody's civil rights by going to their home and murdering them. She said it was particularly upsetting considering how she and others had protested and warned that Shelton was dangerous. It is the fruition of my greatest fear that someone else would relive what I experienced. Local advocates in the Antelope Valley region in northern LA County have called for Shelton to be fired and charged. We want him out there and prosecuted and not just moved to another county to stay in law enforcement, said Juanetta Cullors, a co-founder of Cancel the Contract, a group that is assisting the family and that organizes against police brutality in the area. There is no accountability. The sheriff keeps finding excuses to validate murdering us. The sheriff's department has repeatedly been accused of using brutal force against black women in the region. In June, a deputy was caught on camera throwing a woman to the ground outside a Lancaster grocery store and placing his knee on top of her. The woman had been recording a police encounter. LASD also released footage in July of an encounter in Palmdale, a neighboring city in which a deputy was seen punching a woman twice in the face as she held her newborn baby. I have to say this. We know they are black women. We know they are black women, not just because the first sentence says black women in the region have been brutalized by the police, but because the feminists of America have not come out to speak about this. Where are the feminist organizations talking about the rampant police violence and brutality against black women? I guess when the issues only concern white women or tangentially also affect white women, then that's when we get the feminists protesting and marching against systemic violence against women or issues in our society. But if it's only happening to black women, where are the feminists? See, this is why we need intersectionality when we talk about feminism or any of these ideas or ideologies that are about social change or analyzing our society. Because these issues continue to happen to women that look like me, have the same beautiful melanated skin tone, yet and still other groups of women don't come out and support these people. They don't talk about these issues enough. Going to jump here. Sheriffs are running rampant in Antelope Valley and are allowed to harm black women especially, and nothing is happening, said callers. Everyone considers it to be a norm. And that's the end of the article here. This is just information for the reader about donating. So once again, I have to say this: rest in peace to Niani Finlayson, to her, and I sincerely hope that there's justice in this situation. Whether she, had the knife or not, we need to change our society where so many police are scared to do their job. No working person should be scared to go to work, even a police officer. You get what I'm saying? We should be able to live in a society just like in Liechtenstein, just like in Germany, just like in France, just like in Spain, just like in Portugal, where the police generally can do their job and go home safe, or at least leave the house thinking that they're not going to come back in a body bag. But in America, those police are armed to the teeth, looking like military soldiers, bulletproof vests, all sorts of semi-automatic rifles and weapons and tanks in different cities and stuff like that. Like, police are on edge because we make our society with an edge, because we are held captive by the NRA. We're held captive by all the gun nuts and gun lobbyists who want to make sure that every American should have access to weapons. Well, we don't, because Americans are like children, and children with guns is not something that we should have in our society. And so another thing I want to say is I want to apologize to all the women in my life previously who I've hurt, who I have been a bad man to. And I think this is a lesson here in this story that domestic violence is absolutely not cool, no matter who perpetrates it. Men or women. But as men, we need to step up and take responsibility and call it out when it happens. Guys, do not put your hands on your girlfriends, your wives, even your own children. Please, people, let's settle our things with our words. Let's not be savages out here. And once again, I want to say sorry to everybody that I've hurt, and I hope that my voice can actually inspire young men to not go down that path of being abusive to women. We need to love our sisters and love the women in our lives because they trust us so much. Niani Finlayson was with this man who she thought she could trust and love and that sort of thing. They ended up breaking up. He ends up stalking her, and then he ends up and now it ends up with the police taking her life and that sort of stuff. And the guy will be able to walk away and that sort of stuff, but he is somewhat responsible too for what happened to her. What I'm saying, guys, as somebody who was charged with stalking and that sort of stuff, as somebody who, in the past did so many bad things to women, I have to acknowledge that those bad things might have repercussions for them later on in life. Even when I'm way past it, they're not past it. And so we have to step up and stop being the perpetrators of so much evil to the women in our communities. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I don't care who likes it. My name is Simon Hill. Thank you for watching. Peace.